What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Once again, welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Pro League South Asia Season 4 Pro Analysis, where we're going to be talking about what happened in the PMPL South Asia Season 4 Week 1. This is Super Jonny, joined by Fyxs, and starting things off, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about the top 3 teams of the overall leaderboard, followed by some of the best players we have seen in this opening week. And in the end, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about the best performing players of this PMPL South Asia Season 4 Week 1. So with that out of the way, let's get this show started. So starting things off, we're going to be talking about the team that is sitting on the first position of the overall leaderboard, Train to Kill.
Quite interesting. More than that, rather I'm surprised, because heading in from the league days, coming into the super weekend, they started off with 2 chicken dinners. This is where everyone was baffled as to what these players are putting on the table, because that is something we did not get to see from them in the league days. I mean, they were good, but not this good, right? That is where we sort of started having huge expectations from them, especially considering the fact that this lineup was formed recently, combining few players from different teams altogether. Now, you talk about the star performers, has to be Sandesh, who apparently came in from PM2, and this was sort of anticipated, right? We did put him in our top 3 fraggers list, and he's still maintaining that. So I think considering Sandesh, then you've got the support coming in from Suyog. Again, you've got other players as well. We did see even Gurkha play once for the team, and then again, towards the second day, we did see that slump, right? We did see T2K falling off the charts a little bit, but the third day, that is where they came back again with 2 more chicken dinners and have already bagged home $4,000.
Exactly. T2K right now have earned themselves a lot of money and a lot of respect, but they are being chased by the team right behind them, and it is the myths, the legends, the god of gods, Zeus Esports.
Well, I did not know what to say because, you know, up until the third day, they were on the bottom half of the table, and people were starting to, you know, criticize, people were starting to wonder what exactly went wrong. But then again, one really interesting feature about this team is they still got a lot of kills. I mean, you talk about IC. Well, Godless sort of has been silent this time, but IC has definitely led the charge, and he's been bagging tons of kills over there, and I think he's going to do that with the Super Weekends coming by. But what really sets Zeus apart this time in the Super Weekends, we really did see that change in the drop locations in Erangel especially. And one of those really memorable matches was, of course, the Sandhawk performance, where they almost clinched a chicken dinner.
Exactly. I mean, Zeus Esports, they have been surprising with those drop location changes, as you mentioned, and also the rotation timing seem a little different if you compare it to their playstyle before. But it is about improving, and Zeus Esports, they have improved quite a lot within the Super Weekend itself. But there is another team that we have to talk about. It's a team that has been under the radar all this time, but they're still doing really well. Sitting on the third, ladies and gentlemen, it is Vibes.
I mean, Team Vibes, this was sort of anticipated, right? The only thing that really concerned me, and my doubts were gone when they performed really well in the league days, and carrying it forward inside the Super Weekend, they had to be fantastic, right? Especially all the players. You've got Assassin, who's again on the top fraggers, and he was from high voltage. He does have that experience, and not just him, the other players along with him, their experience as well. So the only limiting factor was, of course, how to adapt with your team, and I believe they've done that, and we're going to expect even bigger performances from them in the weeks to come.
Now, moving forward, we're going to be talking about some of the best plays we have seen this week, and starting things off, ladies and gentlemen, on number 3, it is going to be the match, the chicken dinner, that brought Zeus Esports on the second position. Now, this game was the last game of the last day of the very first week of the Super Weekend.
Yeah, this is where we are talking about changes made in Zeus's play style, right? We've usually seen them playing edge to edge. This time they rather dropped off in shelter, and of course the zone did favor them. And so they directly went in towards Mansion, not towards the main building of Mansion, rather the squad house beside it. And right while I was casting, I did point that out. You know, this is going to be a really important compound, and all they had to do is hold. that compound. And this is something that Zeus does not like to do, but they still did that. We did see some semblances of some amazing shots, especially those bold action shots being taken by godless few knocks here and there. They did hold off their territory up until the point they had to go up against their arch nemesis, that's going to be DRS. They finished him off and bagged the chicken.
That was the best part of this play, that Zeus Esports, they had to go up against their own nemesis to get this victory. Now, moving things forward to the second best play of the day. This one also involved Zeus Esports, but this time the chicken dinner was taken by Whizzes with Vibes.
Yeah, of course. I mean, one of those more surprising entries that we have into the PMPL this time around, and that was quite an interesting game of Sanhok, especially I must emphasize upon Zeus again because of the rotation that they did carry out. I mean, they drop off somewhere around Bhan and Kuari, and they went all the way from the eastern side to the southern side and again towards the western side. That's how they entered inside the circle. But for Whizzes with Vibes, it was sort of a rather easier affair because they had to, go up against their own brothers, that's Team Vibes. And they did contest that compound, they did take them down. But the zone shift, Johnny, how important it gets in the map of Sanhok. And that is all they had to do, control the zone, have the compound that suits them the best. And well, Zeus did put up quite an interesting fight, right? It did come down to that 1v1 situation. But till then, Godless was just a little bit unlucky, not having the best of HPs, and Whizzes with Vibes, they clutched it out. And one more beautiful thing about Whizzes with Vibes over here is they've been constantly trying out plan B when things don't work for them. That is, going in for heal battle. That is where we did see Delta pulling off some 35 first aids in different Sanhok games.
But it has been an interesting situation, and talking about those interesting, intense situations, Team Paradox, they pulled off an amazing victory for themselves as well. Now, Paradox had been struggling for a day and a half at this point, not being able to convert even a single match in their favor. But before this match, a map on Wrangle, they get a few kills and then they realize, oh, this is how we can get a win. And in the next game on Sanhok, they get themselves another chicken.
How could I forget that, right? That is where you did want them to win a chicken dinner, and they did, and Johnny was elated, I must say. But again, that was another chicken dinner that did come out in, of course, the map of Sanhok. And what they had to do initially was to hold the door against high voltage and dead eyes. And I think they did a pretty good job at that. But in Sanhok, again, it comes down to how the circle rotates, right? Did so in their favor, and towards the very end, they had to go against Team Bablu, right? And in that moment, I really felt this is where the positioning of the players did come handy. The control that they took over the map, they spread across. And now Team Bablu was sort of pincered down to that one location, and they could not do much. The trades were definitely not turning in their favor. And this was one of those chicken dinners which was actually coming, considering how good Paradox were playing in the previous few games with the kills. But in the position points, they were kind of missing out. But this sort of sealed the deal.
Exactly. Now, this was an interesting performance by Paradox, and these were the best plays of this first week according to us. You guys can let us know what are the best plays of this first week according to you guys down in the comment section. But that's not all we are going to have a look at, right? We're going to look at some of the worst plays of this week as well. And starting things off, this one involves the players of Paradox, where they went for a push on the players of DRS. Gyalzen is the only man standing out in the open, and I guess there was a bit of confusion.
Yeah, of course. I mean, all he was doing was trying to heal himself right in front of the players of Paradox in that fight. And it was the chaos, right? It was the chaos where I think Paradox sort of missed him out because maybe they considered him a no threat, right? And all he did was completely annihilate them and clobbered them down, and before Paradox could even breathe, they were done.
Gyalzen took a page out of Drax's book right there. If I'm still enough, they can't see me. But then we had another hilarious moment in the same match. Have you ever seen a vehicle getting tossed out by a grenade? Well, now's the moment. Alright, so now it's time to talk about the best performing players of the first week, and starting things off, it's a man that Fyxs loves, Crypto.
I mean, we all do. I mean, there has to be one reason why, because he does take a lot of kills and does a lot of damage to his opponents. And well, we've got to talk about this man a lot, right? We did see him as a rather fresh entrant into the competitive scene, considering how old the other players are. You talk about Team Bablu. But again, you talk about Crypto, being one of those support players, his role has been very instrumental in I8 being so good, right? The way he controls those mid-game fights, especially his sprays with the M4, that is where he really shines. And despite the fact that, aim assist was turned off this time, this is sort of where I did speculate that, players are going to be resorting to Mini 14, but this lad sticked up to it and is the highest fragger in the PMPL kill leaders so far. But again, if you talk about this team as a whole, they still need Jonny to be coming in and performing instead of reviews.
I mean, that is definitely going to be required for IA to put up a tough fight on the overall leaderboard, but Crypto is doing a wonderful job making sure the team is up there for the contention of the top position. But now, moving things forward, we're going to be talking about a player who I believe has gotten the most number of MVPs in this first week, if I'm not wrong, and it is going to be Bishal from Team Ruthless Aggressive Warriors.
You're talking about this category itself, right? Impactful performance. And this is where we have to talk about Bishal, right? How good he has been in terms of his skill potential, the way he's been controlling those fights, his clutches, everything. Now, being one of those underdog teams coming into the PMPL Raw, they've been looking phenomenally well, and they have definitely exceeded our expectations. And getting a few chicken dinners, this is something we love from them. But Bishal has been at the center of it all with the plays he does, the versatility coming in from the lad, the way he adapts to situation, and most importantly, he does have the survival game strong for him as well.
I mean, there's a lot that can possibly happen in this going into the second week, right? There are a lot of expectations, there are a lot of limitations, but will these teams break through their limits? It's a big question, and you can find out the answer on the PUBG Mobile official esports YouTube channels, because the broadcasts are going to be starting again next week with week 2, and well, the battle is going to get more and more intense. So we'll see you guys on the battlefield.